Y'all. I think I might have gone live a bit. Oh no, it's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. Hello. I was just doing my nails because you've got to, haven't you? Welcome everybody to our Thursday afternoon Facebook Live. We are changing the times of these, so keep an eye out. We will put stuff up to let you know. Oh look, there's my Margot. Bless her. We went dogging yesterday, me and her. We went dogging. Yeah, apparently. Apparently you're not supposed to call it that. But we did, because Margot is my baby girl, and we're hoping that she's going to have some baby girls of herself. Because, do you know why? Because I need to do something other than work. So my sister wanted a puppy, my mother wanted a puppy, my cousin wanted a puppy. So I was like, well, do you know what? Let's make some puppies. So honest to God, it was the most stressful experience of my life, because off I trotted yesterday, found a lovely stud, very handsome young chap, and we went there to this place, and I have to say it was very, very nice. There's worse places you could lose your virginity, I would say. It was like a big old mansion, really very, very nice. There's like free range chickens everywhere and everything. So they came out, they took her in, they shut the gate, and I was stood outside like, oh, where's my baby girl? Where's my baby girl? She's in there being violated. So anyway, she's done the deed. And I have to say, she came out looking rather smug with herself. She was a bit like, when she came out. And I said to the guy, she's whelping. And he went, well, it was her first time, wasn't it? And I was like, well, yeah, does it hurt? And he looked at me as if to say, well, did it hurt you? And I was like, oh, hi, Elizabeth. So yesterday, my body weight in crap, just out of nervous tension. You know what you do. Then it got to about 6 o'clock, and I thought, I think I might have to have a beer. So I had a couple of Coronas, and then this morning the doorbell went, and there was this woman at the door with this child. She said, oh yeah, I've just dropped her off. I was like, okay. I had absolutely no idea who this woman was, and I said to her, who's this girl? She went, I did ask. I said, I don't think you did. You'd had beer. Honestly, I was mortified. This woman looked at me and said, oh dear, just dropped my daughter off at an alcoholic's house. Anyway, I only had I had three Coronas. Anyway, that's not what you're here for, is it? You're not here to listen to me prattle on. Honestly, I've just eaten a scone at this. It was literally scone. I embarrass myself at times at the speed I eat. I think someone was going to steal it off me. Anyway, right, questions, people. I'm here to answer your questions, not prattle on about myself. So you're going to need to fire some questions at me, and I'm hoping that Jazz is there with some. Oh, I've got some questions up here, I think. No, what does that mean? Jazz is going to be screaming at me. I can feel it. I can feel her screaming, but I can't see any questions. Jazz, I'm going to message her. Am I getting questions? Oh, that'll be my husband back. Jazz, where are you? Why are we not getting any questions? I love the fact that you're all waiting here with me, that you are being patient with me, because there's no questions here. And I can't mute. I don't know how to mute. I hate Facebook with a passion, because it never seems to work for me, and I'm literally not seeing. Thank you, Shona. Is that the crap there? Keithy, can you just do something with them? I think you might remember my previous comment on your Q&A before. I'm due my second baby very soon. Was hoping for a VBAC, but baby is breech again. Oh, bugger. So section has been booked. I don't feel like a failure, because my body can't handle natural birth. Anyway, my question will be, is it going to take me longer to recover this second time round? No, not unless you're considerably less fit, or there's no reason why your recovery should be any different. But I'm more worried, Shona, about the fact that you're saying that you feel like a failure. It's nothing to do with handling natural birth at all. That's Keithy. Keithy, I ate one of them scones, by the way. It's nothing to do with you being good or bad at carrying babies. You've carried a baby. It's on Earthside. It's here. It's being looked after. So that's a tick, 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 tick. I had my babies by cesarean, and you wouldn't tell me I'd failed, would you? No, I hope not. So So honestly, don't feel like that. Just look forward to it. Enjoy it. Your recovery should be fine. Obviously, you're going to have another child to look after, so that's a bit of a challenge, but you will be absolutely fine. And just go and embrace it. Embrace the fact that you can go in there, know what you're doing. And actually, it's major surgery, so you're a bit of a warrior, I would say. I would go with that, Shona. Elizabeth says, I'm almost 36 weeks. I have lupus. I am told I will be induced soon. However, backache really bad. Paracetamol, hot bath not helping. Any tips? 36 weeks. So difficult because you are really limited, aren't you, with regards to your pain relief. Maybe get your partner to do some massage, something like that. Yoga stretches may well help. There isn't really that much else that you can do. It's just that, I mean, I would say that at 36 weeks, the vast majority of people are really uncomfortable. So it's just about trying to move, maybe moving around on a birthing ball, that sort of thing, will be helpful. Hi, Joanna. Stacey says, 7 months ago, I gave birth to my son who sadly passed away after birth. My question is, I had an emergency C-section and now I'm 18 weeks pregnant and my scar is very painful, so uncomfortable inside and out. Is this normal? Well, firstly, Stacey, I am so sorry you've had such an awful time. And congratulations on being pregnant again. I think it's not unusual that your scar is sore. Because it's not that long since you actually had your cesarean section. I think you need to mention it to your midwife for them to keep an eye on it. So other than that, there isn't really very much that I can say. I would let your consultant, your midwife and people looking after you know that. But well done you, and you know where we are. Just keep coming back with all your questions. Raji, my baby is 1 on the 15th. How much milk should he have? Oh, I honestly cannot answer that. 1 year of age, they will be sort of starting to come back down. But again, it depends on his weight and how much solid food he's having. I'm sure that up to 12 months, it's around about 600 ml a day. But it's not really my area, I'm afraid. But they will start to back away from having big volumes of milk. Amanda is having a second baby, had her first scan and they say I have fibroids. Is there anything to worry about? Not necessarily, Amanda. They'll just keep an eye on you, and at the point of delivery, they'll really keep an eye on you because it does increase your risk of bleeding. But it's one of those things, it's like, right, well, we know about it, so we can preempt it and sort it out if it happens. So I genuinely wouldn't worry too much about it. And it's like anything, isn't it? If I said to you, yeah, worry about it, it's not going to help you in worrying about it. They know about it, and so they're going to keep an eye on you. Tara is in her first trimester with her third. I've realised today that I keep getting numbness in my arms, which is followed by shaking hands, which I cannot be controlled. What could this be? Tara, I'm on fire today. I honestly don't know. You should make an appointment with your GP. That's the best place to start with in your first trimester. That would be the best place to start. It's probably a nerve thing, but I think you should raise it with your GP. Can I colour my hair? Full head tint, permanent hair colour. I'm 12 weeks Monday. Yeah, it's fine. I think years ago we used to use really dodgy peroxides and stuff. Just mention it to your hairdresser, but yeah, you're absolutely fine to do your hair. Yes, absolutely sorry for your loss, Shona. Yeah, think positive. You are right. You are an absolute warrior, Shona. Just keep going. You're fine. Indeed, obviously we have to watch your caffeine. You have to watch your caffeine whilst pregnant. Yes, I have 1 instant coffee in the morning. We are allowed to. Then occasionally 1 glass of fizzy caffeinated drink like cola coffee. If I skip the Coca-Cola, I will have chocolate bars. I'm not laughing at you, Inda. It's just like reading about myself. I crave these things, but I try my best to limit them. And that's all you can do, is just try your best. Like me, Keithy went out. I was left unsupervised. The scones were on the side. And the clotted cream was in the fridge. What are you going to do, Indy? And literally, he was out. And I thought, he'll be back in a minute. He'll be back. Because the plan was we were going to sit in the garden together and have a nice cup of tea because he's on holiday and a scone. I can't wait. Honestly, I feel your pain, Indy. I do feel your pain. What you could maybe do is mix it up with a bit of decaf. Right, Jessica is 35 weeks pregnant. At a growth scan on Tuesday evening was fine. They said baby's all the way over on my right-hand side and laying on her right-hand side. Baby is still in position when I go into labor. Would this make things more difficult? They say baby is all the way over on my right-hand side and laying on her right-hand side. Okay, so well, it just I can't. I'm trying to work out, Jessica, just exactly what position baby's in. If she's head down, that is not a problem. So you're lucky I've got my trusty pelvis here. So your right side. So effectively, she could be. Hang on a minute. What's her right side? Yeah. So effectively, they're saying that she's like that. Hang on a minute. Right, there's our pelvis. Okay, this is her right side. There's my baby. So effectively, oh, they're saying that she's like that, aren't they? I think they're saying that she's like that. That's not a problem at this point. And how many weeks did you say? 35 weeks. Plenty of room for her to sort of wiggle back round. But as long as her head is in the pelvis, then it's fine. It's if they're completely transverse and then lying like this at the bottom. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. I've had a bad head for the last 6 days. 37 weeks pregnant and been checked for preeclampsia, which is good. Any tips to get rid of the bad headache? Hydration, paracetamol, doing some yoga before bed just to try and chill, breathe out, get rid of any tension that's there. But if it is persistent, keep going back. You know, if it's really bad, we need to just double check that. But yeah, blood pressure would be our first thought. I have a question. My little girl is 6 months old and we think she has a viral infection. So obviously she's off her milk. She's only drank 19 ounces over 24 hours. I don't know what 19 ounces is. So not having as many wet nappies. When do I be concerned that she's not drinking enough? She's only had 2 wet nappies in 24 hours. 6 months old. I would probably I would phone 111. That would be my point, and just chat it through with them. They'll ask you loads of different questions and see what they think from there. Because at 6 months, is she having solid foods, Jodie? So they're going to ask you that as well. So I would just touch base with 111. Amy, I'm 19 weeks at the moment. I have a small umbilical hernia. It isn't too bad at the moment, but I'm really nervous it could get worse as I grow and will result in me needing a C-section. Any times there isn't really anything that you can do, Amy. I mean, obviously you need to go careful on lifting and anything that's going to put any pressure on that. But in terms of you controlling what happens to it, there isn't really very much that you can do. So just don't be lifting anything heavy. But then that goes with anybody who's got a hernia. Positive vibes all the way to Shona, absolutely. Right, got loads of questions now. Oh no, they're all coming in. Where are they all? Lost them all now. I'm pregnant with my first baby and I'm 16 weeks today and was wondering what best easy to read pregnancy book to buy that tells me everything I need to know. You need to watch this space because there's one coming out with us very, very soon. I know that the Modern Midwife has just released one. I think that's what it's called, the Modern Midwife, so you might want to have a look at that. But other than that, I'm not that up on them. I'll write one for you all. I know it's a good plan. I'm 19 weeks pregnant with my second child with a 7-year gap. I haven't felt baby move yet. Is this normal or am I worrying for no reason? At 19 weeks, I would say you're still okay. Sometimes people get to 22, 23 weeks and they still haven't felt baby. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much at the moment. But if you are like super duper worrying, then just give your midwife a ring and just say, is there any chance you could listening because I'm getting myself in a right royal tears. And most good midwives will try their best to accommodate. I'm coming up 34 weeks and wondering what the advice was on starting to drink raspberry leaf tea. I have gestational diabetes, so would this be okay? I'm assuming that there's no sugar in raspberry leaf tea. I honestly don't know the answer to that. But raspberry leaf tea, there is some thought that it helps with uterine toning. And so therefore may help with the contraction. I'm very sceptical about fruit teas. I think they're imposters because when I smell them, I'm like, oh, that smells so lovely. And when I taste them, I'm like, oh, it tastes like dishwater. So I'm never convinced that they can do anything, but people do swear by them. So don't listen to me because I'm a skeptic. But yeah, it won't do you any harm, I wouldn't say. I think it's unlikely it's going to impact your gestational diabetes, but just check with your Holland and Barrett or wherever you're going to buy them. Just, are they okay? There's no sugar in them, but they're herbal, so it should be fine. I have my 8-week midwife appointment coming up soon. I've had 2 miscarriages last year and I'm obviously a bit nervous about everything. I'm entitled to an early scan because of the problems I've had. Am I entitled? I know by having a scan nothing can change the final outcome anyway, but it would be nice for some reassurance. I'll just see what's going on. I don't think it's a case of especially being entitled to one as such. Sometimes they do an early scan. I would just ask. It's worth an ask. I think, like you said, understanding that it is a snapshot at that moment in time. But yeah, it's worth an ask if it's going to reassure you. I would just ask your midwife if it could be arranged, or speak to the early pregnancy unit and see if they will arrange it for you. I'm 37 years old and 6 weeks pregnant with my first baby. Given mine and husband's age is 47, I am considering private NIPT test, but I'm trying to learn more about what is offered on the NHS and when. Should we wait and have the 12-week scan first on the NHS and then have the NIPT privately afterwards for reassurance? So I don't think there's any point in doing it that way round, because the NHS one will be just as, it's going to give you, well, is it going to give you? The thing is, so what happens is with your scan, so you will have a risk factor. So it's not a diagnostic scan at that point, because we don't do diagnostic scans on everybody. So yeah, you are going to get a more definitive answer if you pay for a private test. I think if you're going to pay for a private test, I would do it earlier. I wouldn't wait, because God forbid there was anything, you are then further and further down the line. So I would probably, if you're in a position that you can do it privately and you want to do it privately, I would. However, I would say that at 37, you're still a spring chicken, my lovely. I know we go on about geriatrics, but 37, you know. But yeah, I think I would, if you're going to have the test anyway, I would do it sooner rather than later. Yes, trying to learn more about what is offered. So you'll have your booking appointment, where they find out everything about your history and all that sort of stuff. And then between 11 and 13 weeks, you'll have what's called your nuchal scan. And that's where they look at all the different risk factors, and they will come back and say whether you are at low risk or increased risk for a baby with a chromosomal abnormality. So they're looking at Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome, and Patau syndrome. So, but again, it will come back and it will put you in a risk factor. So it's still not going to come back and say, like the NIPT test will come back and say basically yes or no. This is going to be a more of a risk factor. So yeah, I would, if you're going to have the test, I'd have it done earlier. Can you suggest anything that help with round ligament pain? I'm just over 14 weeks and I've tried hot water bottles and taking paracetamol. I don't want to rely on pain relief. I'm struggling to find a comfortable sleeping position because of it, and even walking up the stairs is becoming a mission in itself. Bless you. What I would say is go and do our pelvic girdle workshop. That's run by Michelle, who's our specialist women's physiotherapist. I'm just going to find out when the next one is for you. So Michelle, as I said, is a physiotherapist, and the next one is on the 11th of April. And if Jazz is watching, I'm sure, actually I can do it now. It's on the 11th of April. So Michelle is a specialist women's physiotherapist, and she does a full session on, can you also see me? She does a full session on pelvic girdle pain and how to manage it, and gives you symptoms and stuff. I've just put the link at the bottom there. So it's definitely a class that's worth booking onto. That's what I would do if I was you. Where did I get to? I want to ask about the COVID vaccinations for pregnant women. I'm 13 weeks and been asked to get vaccines from doctors, but not sure about it. The information I can say, Linz, is that to a certain degree, I know no more than any other midwife in the fact that I have heard that they're saying to pregnant women, it's absolutely fine to have. So I don't have anything that says I can say one way or another that that's good or bad. But I do think to a certain degree, we have to trust that they're doing everything they can to make sure that it's as safe as it can be. So would I have it? I think if you were working in high risk and you were mixing with lots of people, then yes, I probably would have it. If, like me, I work from home, I don't see anybody apart from IFAF and FIF or whatever you call them, but I don't go anywhere ever. I don't have a life, so I eat scones. So I probably wouldn't have it. But I think if you are going out to work, I probably would. She's head down too, so that's good, Jessica. She's head down. He eats every meal I give him and he loves his milk. Scared of cutting his afternoon milk as that gets him up for his nap. Can I cut that? So the thing is with babies when you're starting to wean them is that they start, they're getting their milk and their calcium and stuff from like yogurt, cheese, all those sort of things. So don't worry too much. But you don't have to cut it out. Morning, love. Evening, morning, what plan am I? Too many temptations, Indy. Tell me about it. And there's still 2 scones left. Honestly, it's not good, and I'm so miserable on that fat. It's unbelievable. I'm starting to think about trying for my second baby and would like a home birth. I had gestational diabetes with my first pregnancy, was constant lead. I want to know what my rights are to push for a home birth and assert that I don't want a hospital birth this time unless I absolutely have to. My biggest concerns are: 1, clean up. If I'm dying and bleeding to death after, how will paramedics get me down the stairs on my first floor flat? I have to say my answer to that is that that's the reason that you probably shouldn't have a home birth. I think you've got a risk factor. You live in a first floor flat and you're worrying about it. So I have to be honest, my gut reaction is to say, I mean, we would probably try and manage in that awful scenario, which, is, let's face it, the chances of that happening are really slim. But, I would be more worried with a baby with gestational diabetes if your growth was on the larger side. I would be worrying more about the shoulders getting stuck with the baby. So, yeah, I can't really advise you because, I mean, you can't, in terms of your rights, I think let's answer the question. In terms of your rights, you are absolutely within your right to say, I'm not coming into hospital. You can refuse point blank, and then nobody's going to force you. So you just say, well, I'm not coming in, and we will send midwives out. Yeah, we will send midwives out. But my gut feeling is that you should probably have your baby in hospital. Sorry, probably not that popular question answer. 17 weeks and had my 16-week midwife appointment last week, and she asked if I'd felt kicks yet. I don't really know what a flutter feels like to know it's happened, but then I also feel like 17 weeks is still too early. Exactly. I wouldn't worry about it. I think sometimes it's just a conversational thing that people just start getting worried about. Probably shouldn't ask at that point. But yeah, it just sort of, it's one of those feelings that you just a bit like, oh, was that something? Was that not something? So it's quite undetermined, really, how it feels like. But then one day you just get a big wallop, and then you'll be like, I know what that was. I have an anterior placenta. Does that mean I'm going to feel anything different or have a different pregnancy than normal? What it might just mean is that your movements are a little bit muffled, that you struggle to feel as more prominent movements because you've got that cushion at the front. I'm 40 weeks today and baby's not showing any signs of coming yet. I've tried walking, bath, pineapple, hot curry, but not really getting any contractions. Baby's 2 feet pamperable, and I could feel that my bump has dropped as well. So these babies do come on their own thing. You've obviously not been on any of my classes because I tell everybody not to eat spicy food and pineapple. Just try and be chilled, do some yoga. Trying to keep as calm as possible is the best way to promote the oxytocin to flow, and that's what you need for contractions. What should I expect baby movements to feel like at 18 weeks? I get strange feelings in my tummy and not sure what they are. So those strange feelings in your tummy, Tabitha, are little flutterings of your baby moving around. And then at some point it will just get much more defined and you'll be like, that was my baby. So yeah, it just goes from a bit fluttery to pow. There you go. Right, we did all right then, didn't we? We had lots of questions then. And I think we're all good. I think I've answered everybody's questions. I hope you've all got some nice things planned over the Easter. If you haven't already signed up, I've got a first aid class tonight for anybody who is interested in doing a first aid class. Again, you can go over to Let's Talk Birth and Baby and do that. There is a voucher coming out, and I'll give you it now. It's 15 cracked. I think that's with capitals, and that'll get you. I have been told off marketing. Said, here's the code for Easter. Please don't give it to anybody before Good Friday. But I'm like, I am actually the boss, so I can give it out if I want to. And then yeah, but we don't want you to give it out to because it's for Easter. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll think about behaving. But as I've not behaved on the scones, I've not behaved on the code. It's not. I don't think it's live yet, so just keep it in your back pocket. But that'll give you 15% off. Till Easter Monday. I'll go and activate it now. Right, I hope you all have a lovely Easter, and I will see you all next week at some point or on a class. I'm going to go and put my toaster in the bin because it's cutting out the electric. And that's it. Oh, one question Becky got in there. Well done, Becky. Right on the cusp. I'm 27 plus 3 days and I have started suffering with cramping in my legs. Is there any suggestions to help me leave this or reduce the amount of it happening? Becky, what I would do is try and do, oh, thanks, Jazz. That's the link for tonight's first aid class. What I would try and do, Becky, is book onto, if you go onto Your Baby Club on Instagram, they've got, if you look on all the little circles, if you find Carly, there is loads of her yoga sessions. And so I would do one of those. And then you can get onto one of her live sessions. I think the next one is next week. But there is loads on there for you to go and have a who says little? A little look at. And you could just do some stretching and that might help, and making sure you are hydrated. Is there a way to do massage preventing tearing if I can't reach down there? Well, if you can't reach down there, you can't reach down there. What you could do is you could use something like the Annie ball. But again, or you could ask your partner to do it if you've got a partner. Give it a go. Right, I'm going to end. Marzina, also book onto our Let's Talk Birth and Baby free antenatal class, and we do talk about perineal massage in there, and I go more in depth in the Annie ball, so you might want to join up for that, and it's free, so you could do that. Right, as I said, I hope you all have a lovely Easter. Don't eat too many chocolates. I'm so fat, I don't know what to do with myself. I think I might just get pregnant. That'll solve it, won't it? Yeah, right, I'm starting to waffle now. Right, you're all ace, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.